Hello everyone, my name is Siddhartha Utama and I'm the Managing Director and Co-Head of the Operations teams at Northstar. With me today, I have Gibran Huzaifah, who is the CEO and co-founder of eFishery, Indonesia's first and leading aquaculture intelligence company. Gibran, welcome and nice to see you.
Nice to see
and
you.
Thank you for doing this.
My pleasure. It's an honor to be here.
In my opinion, and I'm definitely I'm biased. I think you have one of the most exciting and interesting business model that we have ever seen. Tackling problems, providing solution to one of the most strategic and important sector in Indonesia, aquaculture. Can you tell us what eFishery was and is, Gibran?
Thanks a lot, Pat. That's a very kind words. And it's actually started not by intention that we want to build the most exciting model. Back then, when I was in college, I studied biology, and I attended a class called aquaculture. And the only reason why I was in that class is because it's guaranteed to be an A, and I was there.
That's a good reason to take a class.
But I was inspired by the sector. The aquaculture itself. Then it pushed me to started my own pond. So after that class, I opened my own catfish pond. From one pond in 2009, back then, when I was graduated in 2012, I have 76 ponds. And it was when I realized the massive opportunity of the sector itself, because this is Indonesia's second largest aquaculture producer in the world, and we are the fastest growing food sector globally. And in Indonesia, we have 3.5 million of farmers and tens of millions of fish ponds in Indonesia. So it's a huge and massive opportunity. And what intrigued me the most is the fact that we are only utilizing 7% of the total aquaculture area, which means that we can be the first and the largest aquaculture producer. And as a fish farmer, I tried to think through about what I can do back then and improve the production level. But luckily, I met a senior that used to live in Sumdom with me that started an e-commerce company. Right now, that e-commerce company is one of the unicorns in Indonesia.
Got it.
But back then, he introduced me into this even massive opportunity then called the tech sector technology. And he said that you should start something in technology because this is where the future is. And then I started to think through and combine that. Actually, I came from a fish farming sector and how technology can actually help and build a model and technology from that. And at the beginning in 2013, when I founded eFishery, it was just an IoT solution. So it's a machine to feed the fish automatically, connected to the sensor, connected to the smartphone, and sends the data to the cloud. And then we started, selling it to the farmers. And then at some point, then we started offering subscription service, or we call feeding as a service. And then in the past 2 to 3 years, we started building value chain services on top of the data. So we started selling feed to the farmers using the data, because a lot of farmers wanted to buy the feed on credit. We create credit scoring and providing buy now, pay later by working with the bank and the peer-to-peer lending. And also using the data, we know the harvest prediction and sell the produce from the farm level to the B2B buyers, like the modern trade, big restaurants, and so on. So at the beginning, it's just started as an IoT solution. Right now, it's an end-to-end solution, an end-to-end platform from input marketplace to financing to output commerce that we can build right now. So you can see ourselves more like a cooperative that that managing 14,000, 15,000 farmers all across Indonesia and 60,000 ponds right now in 25 provinces in Indonesia. So that's about eFishery.
Wow. The past 18 months has been a very challenging period for everyone, I think including all the businesses in Indonesia. But correct me if I'm wrong, eFishery itself has grown more than triple over the past year or so. And your profitability also has significantly increased. So I guess the question that everyone has is that how did you and your team achieve this, Gibran?
Yeah, well, first, definitely being in a sector that is not that much impacted. An essential sector, that because we're in the food sector, it helps a lot because people gotta eat anyway. Either there's a COVID or not, they have to eat, and when they eat fish, then when they want to eat fish, then the sector itself is not impacted. So that's the first. And the second, maybe we get some sort of a tailwind on that, right? Is in a sense that when the economy is going bad, people tend to eat more fish than any other animal protein because they switch from eating meat that is more expensive to eat freshwater fish. So in the overall consumption of fish itself, it is actually increased per capita during COVID situation. So definitely on the sector itself that we were helped by the situation.
And also maybe the perception that it's healthier.
Exactly,
and
the
everything.
perception that
Right.
it is healthier. So it helps. So that's on the sector itself, right? But the other thing is also our position in the market, because we're less than 1% of the market, so there's a huge room to grow, and we have like almost no competitor here in Indonesia, at least with the same model like us. Then we have a room to that can maneuver more flexibly to create a lot of models that we want to build. But fundamentally, it was particularly hard for us at the very beginning of COVID, because when the lockdown happens, lockdown created some disruption on the whole supply chain. So a lot of middlemen didn't want to buy fish from the farmers, and the farmers has liquidity problems. They couldn't sell the fish, and when their fish is getting big, then they will need to sell the fish at loss. So in a lot of cases, even farmers need to sell the fish only 30% of the normal price in order for them to get cash from that.
Yeah.
But during that situation, we were the only company that willing to help them, and not the only party that willing to help them.
Got it.
Because they're in a difficult situation. So we tried to figure out whether we want to take that bet by procuring the fish from the farmers, and then we preserve it in the cold storage. Then we figure out how to build the chain, and that decision is proven to be working effectively because the farmers trust us much better than that. They saw us that as a savior in a sense that everyone didn't care about their livelihood, but we did.
Got it.
And it creates a sense of community that we're able to build the growth on top of that community by rolling out multiple services from the loan, from input and so forth. And that's also why we launched our buy now pay later model a month before COVID, but right now we're already disbursing more than 12 million US dollar with less than 1% NPL. And it shows that even in the middle of the COVID, we can actually maintain that if we maintain the community. So it's the most important thing for us.
Got it. It actually brings me to the next questions, because I really want to talk about customer and impact, right? I've read a recent article that you wrote in celebration of the Indonesian Independence Day on the 17th of August. In that article, you talk about the mission of eFishery to provide, I quote, teknologi yang memerdekakan, technology that liberates or give freedom. And what interesting is that in that particular article, you shared a story about Pak Suhendar, a fish farmer in Cirata, West Java, right? He was back then so frustrated by the monopoly of the middleman. So I quote, "Saya jadi nggak ngerasa punya kolam dan merasa kehilangan identitas sebagai petani. I feel like I don't own fish pond anymore and I'm losing my identity as a farmer." It really, strikes me, Can you share with us, how stories like Pak Suhendar influence the way you develop the suite of product and services for the company, and also the kind of culture that you're building for eFishery, Gibran?
Yes, that's very important question for us, because that's what we're really what's important for us as well. First is we have fundamental value that we have been building since the foundation of eFishery itself, that we have to think on the farmer first. So farmer first is our most important values, and what we have been creating structured policies to really enable this mechanism. And when we think about the services, we always started from the farmer's problems. And we have been saying to the team, the farmer is our most important stakeholders. We have to think to the farmer first and build our services revolve around farmers. And that's what we created. Right? When we created eFishery feed, when we sell feed, it's not about we want to create more margin and values in the unit economics perspective, but the first, whether there's any problems in the farmers. And the idea came because of that, actually. When we create a buy now, pay later model, it's not just that's a trend of the fintech,
Right.
but because one farmer particularly asked because they received 60% per annum loan from Loan Shark and figure out whether we can
Which
help
is
them.
common, right?
Which is common, exactly.
Right?
Which is
That's
common. So we tried to think from that perspective and revolve around services around our farmers. And that's when you see all of our services that had is really solving the farmers' problems. And by having that culture, I keep saying to the team as well, I mean, it doesn't matter if eFishery is successful. I mean, we are a unicorn if we don't help single farmers. It's more important for us if we stay small, but we help more farmers, and farmers can actually love us. And that's the fundamental like value about eFishery and how we see ourselves and build the services. And related to your point, a lot of players in the sector is actually building services that not always in aligned incentives with the farmers. For example, the middleman, they sell the feed in the high price and lock with the certain brand. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not in the same incentives of the farmers. They might get higher revenue by selling more feed, but if the feed is bad, if the farmers don't have any profit, then they can't really strive. But our services is we have to align our incentives with farmers, even that, so then our impact will align with our business, because when the farmers are fostered, then our business will foster. When the farmers has more ponds, then we can sell more feeders, we can sell more feed, we can get more fish to sell. So it's all like on a strong flywheel that reinforcing each other. Then when we're helping more farmers grow, and we grow together with them.
It is interesting, right? Because what you're saying is actually sometimes we get really caught up on this metrics, right? Financial metric and everything, and not really thinking about the impact. But what you're saying is that, I mean, the mission for you, yes, metric is important, but I guess the successful of metrics also relates to sort of the real impact that you have on your farmers, right?
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is your main I guess I would say stakeholder, quote unquote, right?
Exactly. And we talk about you talk about Paswender.
Yeah. What happened with him, by the way?
Exactly.
I'm just curious.
The business is growing actually. So he started joining us in 10 months ago from 10 ponds.
Right.
In 10 months right now, his ponds he now operates 30 ponds, right?
Oh, wow.
So 3 times growth in 10 months. Why? Because he received the technology from feeder, he received the loan and get cheaper feed, and we offtake his fish right now.
Right,
so
right.
in 10 months, growing 3 times. So going back to that perspective, in impact perspective, we can actually tripling his income, which makes him definitely increase his quality of life. But in the other way, our market and share of wallet is also increased, because initially only 10 ponds, right now is 30 ponds. So we have more ponds right now. We have more revenue that we generate, and definitely more margin because the higher volume.
Right.
So that's why impact and business needs to be work in hand to hand, and we have to build a model that can actually enable that.
Right. It's, I suppose now, if you're looking back to 2013, when you started eFishery, would you ever imagine that eFishery where it is today, Gibran? And if so, what's next then? I mean, you've achieved an amazing thing. So what's next for eFishery?
Well, definitely, it's beyond my wildest dream, because when I started eFishery, it's just an ex-fish farmer try to build a technology to sell to the fellow fish farmers, and that's all. We don't think that we can now have like 60,000 ponds in our ecosystem. We didn't think that we could reach like 15,000 farmers right now, the way that we have right now. And we didn't even think that we will be a national player. Right now we are in 28 province, but we reached to this point because of the innovation and the struggle that our team built, which we're thankful about. So if you ask me whether it's based on our vision, no, not at all. Our vision is pretty short, but it's beyond our wildest dream. But right now in this position, then we can even dream wilder than before.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
Yes, we have 15,000, 16,000 farmers, but in Indonesia we have 3.5 million farmers.
Right.
So even if we dream to be 1 million farmers, it's still possible.
Right. That's
and
right.
compared to the other startups that definitely successfully replicate what has been successful in other countries like China, India, and States, eFishery, you can say that eFishery is quite pioneer. You can really see whether there's any other eFishery in China, even in a market like China and India, certainly not in the States. So if we want to be even wilder, we want to expand to China and India, people won't think we're crazy. And that's what we're aiming. So we want to targeting to 1 million pond by the end of 2025, and we want to be a regional player that is in 10 countries. And in 10 countries would be the top 10 countries in globally, and it's count for 80% of the global aquaculture supply, which means that if we're in that position, we will be conquering the global aquaculture supply at that point. And that's not just about the monopoly and the achievement, but about how many farmers and how big impact that we can actually create at that point. And that's what we that excites us the most, that the future is actually limitless.
It's I think it's just amazing. And I think my final question to you, and as a little bit relating to sort of your goal and the dream sort of going forward. Between you and Northstar, we have a long-standing relationship, right? I think that back early on, we also participated in your last 2 fundraising round. I guess my question to you is how can we, Northstar as a company, myself personally, continue to support you going forward as you undertake this I guess this growth sort of initiative, all this growth initiative going forward.
Yeah, first of all, I have to say that Northstar is like the best partner that we have right now, and I'm not saying this because I'm in Northstar even, absolutely, and I'm saying that because it's true, because Northstar has been helping the understanding of the context of the market and the infrastructure that you have as an investor, from helping us building the financial model from scratch, getting us introduced to strong investors that can help us growing future, even on the small parts, like you helping me interview the team, the candidate, build the org structure. Those things can actually help the business, not just from the very strategic and 10x on getting new investors that can help us from an operating level, then help us refining the whole execution. So a lot of credit comes to Northstar. So thanks a lot for that. So what I think in the long run, definitely. From the mindset perspective and the sectoral perspective, Northstar has a strong experience on how to scale the business from 1,000 to 1 billion, probably, and that's what we aspire to be. We want to be in 10 countries, and Northstar has helped a lot of portfolio to be in multiple countries, and help a lot of portfolio to be a $10 billion company. And that's for that we need certain level of talents and organization in order to do that, and also infrastructure and strong strategic partners to build it. And it would be really great the way that you have been helping for us to build that organization, so we can execute the process and the solution. So that's the first thing, and the second, it definitely on trying to connect us with the other players in the value chain, because we're strong players in aquaculture, but we need to work with cold chain companies, for example. We need to work with the buyers and export buyers and the feed companies to create some strategic initiatives together, and then at some point improve our value that we can provide to the farmers. So that's
it,
on the
got it.
second part, and the third part maybe on the later stage. Northstar has been helping a lot of companies to go public and
So sure.
and then keep striving and
Yeah.
as a public company, and that's what
Yeah.
we definitely plan to be. So hopefully we can ring the bell together at some point.
Of course, of course, of course.
and we create a strong story to the market that can inspire the next futures of funders.
We'll definitely be there for you, Gibran.
Great.
Definitely be there for you. Thanks again for your time. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Best of luck for the next exciting phase of the company. And I, to be honest, personally, look forward to continuing to support you in your journey. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.